So I just had a 3-day weekend, which was very nice. And usually that means I'm trying to make the most of my time that I have off of work. And this has been something that's been on my mind quite a bit recently, making the best use of time. And it may seem to all of you out there that I have a lot of free time on my hands because I live in a camper van. But unfortunately, that's not really true because I work for a living. So Monday through Friday, I'm punching a clock, just like most of you. So I don't have as much free time as you might think I have, although I do have a little more than I did back when I owned a home. So that means that my time off of work, I'm usually trying to make the most of it. So what did I do with this 3-day weekend? Well, I toyed around with a lot of ideas. I thought about going to the ocean. I thought about just hanging out in Seattle. That would have been an easy thing to do. Go to some of my favorite coffee shops, hang out in my favorite places. But there's that making the best use of time thing. You know, you might say that lately I've been thinking that I want to limit my missed opportunities. And so kind of with that in mind, I thought having a 3-day weekend, you know, it would be a missed opportunity to get out to another city that I haven't been to very much. So I went back to Portland, even though I was in Portland just 2 weekends ago. Now, I was a little bit conflicted about my decision to go to Portland for the weekend. Because on the one hand, I really didn't feel like doing a whole lot. I just kind of felt like having a weekend where I would just take it easy. But on the other hand, there was that idea that I need to not have any missed opportunities, and I better make the most of my 3-day weekend. But I decided to go to Portland anyway, and in part, I guess that is because from time to time, I do like to be around other people. Now, most of the time, I get enough interaction with people just from my job. But at the moment, I've been kind of feeling like hanging out with friends. You know, most of my friends are scattered around the country at this point. And some of my friends I've kind of lost contact with. And I realize that that's mostly my fault. You know, communication is two ways. But it's kind of left me in this position where most of the time I don't want to be around people, but then when I do, I have to make a little bit of extra effort to reach out to people. So I ended up not doing much when I went to Portland. I really just kind of hung out and acted like a local. I did manage to take in a few sights though. So since this is Easter weekend, I thought this was a fitting place to stop. This is the Grotto, they call it. And it's an interesting place. It is full of trees and little hiking trails, and apparently little places to stop and say prayers if that is your desire. But I find this interesting in that it's a really wooded area right here, kind of just at the edge of downtown Portland. So let's walk up and see what the grotto actually looks like, shall we? Now, I also managed to check out some interesting new places for coffee, and this was one of them that I thought was one of the more unique places I've ever been for coffee, and I actually got breakfast there too. Well, one of the little issues that you have when your house is a rolling vehicle is things tend to break now and then. They tend to kind of rattle loose. And I just had that happen last night. So if you turn your attention here, I used to have a stainless steel backsplash that kind of kept some of the heat off of the back side of the van here. Well, I guess it'd be the side of the van here. And I don't know if that's really necessary to have a backsplash here, but I do like the idea of keeping the heat away from the door seal for the sliding door. So, like I said, I used to have a backsplash there. Still have the backsplash, but it rattled loose and fell off. And I'm up here in Portland for the long weekend, just trying to take it easy and check out the city. But now I've got to fix this little issue. And even though I need to fix the issue, I guess I could put it off. Really, if I'm honest, I really didn't have this thing installed. It was kind of held up with magnets, pressure, a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, and really just a dream that it would just stay in place. And those let me down. And so I've decided just to come up with a simple fix for it. I should really go through and do a little more permanent fix. I was never very happy with that, but it was just kind of a quick thing, and it was working. But I don't want to just stick it back up there because it's going to rattle away like crazy on my 100 and some mile drive back to Seattle. So what I came up with was this. And this is not the perfect solution, but I'm going to try to make it work. I think that was too heavy, and there was no way to really secure it. So I'm hoping this will be the solution, at least for the short term. All right, there we have it. Probably not the best fix, probably not the prettiest fix, but I think it'll do because it's in there fairly well. I just screwed it to the plywood that is on the side of this cabinet here, and I guess that'll do. As long as it's going to deflect some heat and not rattle as I drive, I think I'll be happy with it, at least for a little while. And knowing me, it'll probably be my backsplash for the next 2 years. But anyway, problem solved. I can make a cup of coffee and get back to exploring Portland. So there you go. If you want a fix that is just good enough, I'm your guy. So it was nice to get to hang out with a friend and get to meet some of her friends. They're good people. So that made the trip kind of notable. But did I really make good use of my time? Having 3 days off? I guess the answer to that is really a matter of opinion, isn't it? So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that I live an ordinary life, and I know what I put out on YouTube may make it seem like I live this free lifestyle where I'm able to go and venture and explore. But I mean, really, I'm just living a normal, regular life in a van. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it, but I'm just a guy who lives in a van. You know, I punch a clock, just like most of you, and then I have a weekend of time to myself. And while the van gives me freedom, a little more freedom than I've ever had before on my days off, you know, my days off are still limited. We look at everybody else's life and we think that I wish I could be more like them. And the same thing happens to me too. I kind of get caught up with all of my friends that are spread out all over the country, taking cruises and traveling to Maine, Alaska, you know. And I kind of think, hey, I'm not doing enough and I need to get out more. But really, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy living in a van, and that's pretty much it. So, did I make a good choice this weekend? Yeah, I'd say yes, even though there was lots of things that I could have done. But just hanging out like a local in Portland, and then getting to hook up with some friends of mine, yeah, that's all right too, I think.